This has been a show that I've been eagerly anticipating. When you have one of the original creators and scriptwriters working on this, who is the creator of ReZero, there's two main people involved in the overall premise and script of Vivy here. And you have WIT Studio, who is a very different WIT Studio than when they did Attack on Titan. As quality as Attack on Titan was under WIT Studio, their production schedule was very hellish. It was hard to handle, it was brutal, and honestly, they made very little money for stuff like Attack on Titan due to the agreements they have made. With WIT Studio no longer doing that type of production, they've definitely kind of harnessed a much healthier production cycle where things are done a lot more ahead of time. You can tell it from what they've been doing since they stopped doing Attack on Titan. These first two episodes are an amazing indication that the interview that I read a couple of days ago, going over like how this show came to be, and how this was going to be a pretty healthy production cycle, especially for the anime world, it shows in the quality. I was getting flashbacks to when I first experienced Guilty Crown, where you watch the first couple of episodes of those, whether you like the story or not, the visuals and how it all came together at the beginning was something that took a lot of people's breath away. Visually, this show is striking. Narratively, this show, I feel like, is really going to stick its landing. When you have a world dominated by AIs, and these AIs are given one role, whether that's to be a chef, whether it's to be a singer, whether it's to be a police officer, right? They have one role and one role only, and AIs live and die by that. You have Diva, this character who is a singer, who sings for essentially no one. Really, it's kind of like the first AI who's fully, kind of be perceived as a human, all things considered. And then you get this bear, right? She has this bear who basically gets infiltrated by this AI or some sort of creation from the future saying in 100 years, when AIs are given the same human rights as humans, AIs will rise up and this is the massacre we will experience. I need your help. You're the only AI body that is still surviving, and because she gets thrown into a museum, I need your help to do this. And it is one hell of a ride with these two episodes. Narratively, I am so intrigued. There is so many ways for this to go balls to the wall insane. I mean, episode 2, we have a whole building come crashing down. We're running across a tumbling building as our girl is trying to save this congressman who's trying to pass the law simply just to get votes. He doesn't give a shit about AI, and the whole idea that you need to save this guy's life because if he dies, he'll then become a symbol of why that law needs to be passed and all the chaos from the future will happen. The narrative to this show is so intriguing. I know the author of ReZero worked on another show last year, I believe, or maybe a couple years back, and it was a hit or miss for some, but I really feel like this is a show that fans of ReZero and just fans of WIT Studio in general are going to get a kick out of, because this is without a doubt some of the most visually striking content I have seen from WIT Studio in their debut first couple of episodes for projects that they have worked on. It's just so interesting with the lighting and how futuristic it is without going too overboard. It actually kind of reminds me of Psychopaths in a certain way, where there's a lot of technological aspects to it without fully bombarding you to the point that you get distracted by all the ads and things like that. I love the little small details where sometimes when you're focusing from her point of view, you have these little statistics on the side that just kind of read things and indicate what's going on, just simple machine-like speak, but it's so interesting to see that. And to just watch the characterization of a girl who, at first I was like, I know I hear this voice from somewhere. It's a character I really liked, and I was shocked to learn, but not shocked at the same time. The person who voices Diva, who probably will get the name Vivy based on, obviously, my anime listening the name and things like that, once probably she either gives herself a name, the bear gives her a name, or maybe it's just going to be the law's going to get passed and AIs are going to be given human rights in this actual show. But it's interesting because she is very similar to Hsieh from Ancient Magus Bride. It's the same voice actress, but it's a very similar performance to that of when she performed Hsieh. And I think that was the perfect route to go for a basically AI who's just trying to sing, and that's her goal, that's her dream. And you have this really cute dynamic between her and this little girl who's like, hey, next time I see you, I'll see you on the main stage. At first, I didn't get red flags. I have to admit, I really didn't, because even though there's a lot of chaos that kind of kicks off, to me, I wasn't really expecting she would get roped into anything, because how would this little girl get roped into absolutely anything, right? It just doesn't make sense. And you see at the end of the episode when they kind of finally have this agreement that they're going to work together, they're going to save the future, You then see this bear just completely annihilate her. Arm comes off saying like, hey, I told you, small changes to the future like saving this congressman's life. That's okay because everything else still happened the way it is. A plane full of civilians that gets blown up, we can't change because that's how the future has to be. And we just so happen to see that that little girl is on the plane. And I was like, oh, this is going to be dramatic. I love the idea of having the ability to change the future, but knowing you can't because it would cause too much chaos. There's only small things that can deviate. And I was curious as soon as they brought up the fact of changing the futures, like, I wonder how many times we're going to see her want to do something but can't, and they immediately answered my questions with the most brutal revelation possible. This episode, or episodes I should say, 1 and 2, we obviously don't get an episode next week because we obviously get episode 1 and 2 right now. It was so engaging. The visuals were, as I said, amazing. It was movie quality on multiple points. Just the color palette and the animatronics to everything, it was so interesting. It was so smooth, and you can tell this is a healthy production cycle, and I would be shocked if this somehow crashes and burns around the midway point like a lot of action-oriented or very high-quality production shows do. The characters, though, I really like. I love the dynamic between this AI and bear, who you just have this level of humor where the bear will be cracking these jokes and Vivi just won't understand, or Diva at this point, I guess I should say. And I love the idea that you can tell this is going to be a very rocky relationship where they're going to have really, really high points, like the idea of them agreeing that they're going to work together to stop this horrible future from happening. But at the same time, you can see the negativity that can come with it when she says this deserves to be saved, and he's saying no, we can't save it because it'll be too big of a deviation in the future. Sound effect design was absolutely mind-blowing. I love the crumbling of the buildings, the shots from the individual weapons. Everything about it feels like a future off in the distance, but it feels so high quality. Even the voice acting, I love the filters on both the bear when it has this like animatronic voice, and even how, the AIs themselves talk in the world. There's so many little details that I think in any other production, if this wasn't WIT Studio giving it their all, if this wasn't, even honestly, even if this was the same writers and everything like that, if this was just either WIT Studio with a bad production schedule or another studio, this wouldn't be as engaging. The story is great, don't get me wrong, but the level of detail they're putting into both the audio departments and the visuals, both with the animation, gorgeous character designs, amazing backdrops, and incredible special effects. There's multiple points in episode 2 that I didn't know how they were animating that and how they were blending most likely 3D and 2D in the way that they were. This production oozes quality, and I can probably say, there's still a bunch of shows that are going to be airing on Saturday that I'm going to be checking out and reviewing. I would be shocked if this isn't going to be my most anticipated Saturday show going forward for the foreseeable future. It engaged me. Every character that was on screen was interesting. Even like this person who was simply trying to pass a law to give AIs rights, he was doing it for votes. It was so interesting to see his perspective and how real of a politician that basically was. And the idea that he kind of has a change of heart, just the idea of like, he kind of had a wake-up call and he's just going to enjoy life rather than chasing these votes, which is honestly a pretty believable thing when you have a near-death experience. Blown away. I am so engaged, and this has me so excited. It has me the exact same excitement I had when I was watching Akudama Drive last year. There's certain shows that just give you a feeling that you're about to watch a modern classic in the making, and maybe it's premature to say, but it's giving me that same feeling. And honestly, I feel like this is going to be a show that is going to surprise a lot of people when they check out the first couple episodes, but I have a feeling if the quality remains as we just saw, we're going to see a lot of people argue what could be anime of the season, and I think this name is going to be tossed around a fair amount. Maybe that's premature to say, but with 2 episodes that felt movie quality dropping back to back, that's how good I feel about this show. 13 episodes, WIT Studio, great production behind it, amazing talent behind it. One of the main scriptwriters is the author of ReZero. I'm happy, I'm excited, and without a doubt, this has been my favorite first experience of the new anime season. I am very excited for more. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below, your favorite moment, and what do you think of the characters themselves? If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, share your support, and hit that subscribe button if you have been new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.